Under the reign of Simeon, the seed Clement had planted grew into a sprawling forest of thought. The school at Ohrid was no longer a sanctuary. It was an engine of empire. Simeon sat with Desislava, the most gifted scholar of the new generation, to codify the golden standard of the Cyrillic script. They realized that for a culture to survive, its language must be more than spoken air. It must be an immovable foundation of law, science, and spirit. The challenge of the scriptorium shifted from creation to preservation. Desislava worked alongside Fyodor, an elder who remembered the scent of Clement's own ink. They debated the placement of accents and the weight of vowels, knowing that a single misplaced stroke could alter the meaning of a decree for 1,000 years. To them, the alphabet was a precision instrument, a bridge that had to be built with mathematical certainty. News of the Apostles of Light reached the furthest horizons. Yaroslav, a prince from the northern lands of the Rus, arrived at the court seeking more than an alliance of swords. He sought the technology of the word. Simeon greeted him not with a display of cavalry, but with a tour of the library. He placed a heavy, leather-bound volume in Yaroslav's hands, explaining that the true power of a nation lay in the ability to record its own history. Yaroslav remained in Ohrid for many months, shedding his warrior's furs for the simple robes of a student. He was mentored by Vasil, a young monk who possessed a gift for teaching the complex phonetics of the Slavic tongue. Vasil showed Yaroslav how the letters were not just symbols, but containers for the soul of the people. They spent their evenings by lamplight, Yaroslav's clumsy fingers learning to mimic the graceful arcs of the script. Yet, the preservation of the word often required the courage of the sword. When threats loomed from the borders, Radomir, a veteran captain turned protector of the school, organized the evacuation of the archives. He worked with Vasil to pack the most precious manuscripts into iron-bound chests. Radomir knew that if the stone walls fell, the books must endure, for a people can survive the loss of their land, but not the loss of their memory. The impact of Ohrid rippled outward to the humblest corners of the land. Vasil traveled to the rural villages carrying small wooden tablets. He sat with Rada, an elderly woman who had spent her life tending the earth. As she traced the letter for bread and the letter for peace in the dust, her eyes filled with tears. For the first time, the wisdom of the heavens and the laws of the land were not secrets held by the elite, but a gift shared with all. Inside the central scriptorium, Desislava oversaw the production of the Universal Library. She worked with Luca, a young artist who specialized in the brilliant gold leaf illuminations that brought the text to life. They were creating copies of the Ohrid standard to be sent to every monastery in the east. Every stroke of Luca's brush was an act of defiance against the silence of the past, ensuring the light would never again be extinguished. Years turned into decades, and the ink of the original masters began to fade. Luca and Fyodor spent their final days as the great correctors, painstakingly reviewing every copy for errors. They realized that the written word was a living organism that required constant care. Fyodor remarked that they were like gardeners of the mind, weeding out the mistakes of tired scribes to ensure the harvest of truth remained pure for the next century. In the twilight of his life, Simeon stood with Fyodor in the great courtyard of the school. They looked out at the dozens of scribes, students, and travelers who filled the halls. Simeon realized that Clement's dream had transcended the physical boundaries of Ohrid. The alphabet had become a shared identity, a spiritual bond that united millions of voices across the vast Slavic world. The Apostles of Light had not just built a school, they had awakened a civilization. The legacy was finally passed to the future. Simeon stood on the same high cliff where he had once looked out as a young man, now accompanied by his grandson Pitar. He handed Pitar a small, simple volume, the first primer of the Ohrid school. He told the boy that while empires are written in blood and sand, their true history is written in ink. As the sun set over Lake Ohrid, the letters on the page seemed to glow, a steady, unquenchable flame against the coming night.